Welcome to Ask Psych Sessions, where we ask some of the best teachers in psychology questions from you, our audience. If you would like to send in a question or an idea for a conversation, please visit bit.ly/AskPsychSessions. That's bit.ly/AskPsychSessions, all lowercase, no spaces. And here's our next question. This is from Amy Feinberg on Twitter. Should students be allowed to retake tests and earn full credit?
Should students be allowed to retake tests and earn full credit? I personally haven't ever offered like a straight retake where I'm going to give you the same exact exam or an alternate version of the exam. I try to, like I've mentioned before, structure it where the earlier exams are small and then the later exams in the course, they get bigger. So I guess that's in a way they're retaking chapters or they're retaking key ideas so that if they screw up early in the quarter, as long as they get things figured out by the end, they should be all right. I've toyed with the idea also of setting up, here's my syllabus with my grading structure, here's how much participation's worth, here's how much the online practice quizzes are worth, et cetera, here's how much the final is worth. That's the normal grading structure. Or if your grade on the final is higher than whatever it is in my preset structure, I'm just going to give you what you got on the final. Because to me, the thing I care about the most is what do you know at the end of the course. And if you can perform on a cumulative final, I don't understand why you wouldn't get that score.
This is interesting because Amy sent two questions in on Twitter, and the other one is related to what we're talking about right now, or what you're talking about, Jason, which is, it's asked as an either or, but here's how she said it, should grading be an average of all the work done in a course or the most recent grades earned on a cumulative test? Nolan?
For my online quizzes, I've used both average and last score. And I don't know what the answer might be if there is one single answer. I'll allow students to retake online quizzes and assessments prior to the deadline. I have not used that practice with my in-class exams for those classes where I have those exams.
So I avoid a lot of this because I stopped giving tests a long time ago, but I think Amy's question is an interesting one. I like the idea of allowing students to retake a test for full credit because I think that mimics life. An employer makes you do something, you don't do it well, they make you do the whole thing over again. The task has to be completed, not partially completed. When employers don't grade on an 8 and a F scale. Employers always expect A work. Employers don't expect B level or C level. They may get it, but they don't expect, B or C level work. So I kind of like that notion. In practicality, I think it has some challenges depending on the size of the class that you're offering or the structure of the class or the goals of the class. But I like that notion that, keep taking it. If it's a mastery-based course, keep taking the full thing over and over again until you master the content or you master the skill or whatever. It's kind of interesting to think about.
I actually find that to be a really interesting idea about do you take an average grade or do you take if you give a cumulative sort of summary exam at the end. I really like that idea. I never thought about it. I do think the idea of retaking something for full credit depends entirely on what kind of class you've got. And with 330 students, that would be a logistical nightmare, I think, for us. But what we do have as a policy is that anyone can take a makeup exam for any reason. So I'm not out there deciding who's got a valid reason for missing an exam and who doesn't. Anyone who misses our exams can take a makeup exam, and I feel really good about that policy. Retaking, I think, it just depends. Like if I had a smaller class, maybe I could consider it, but I don't think I could do it in our really large classes.
I mean, I think one other thing I'd add to this is, Garth, I know you've done the AP reading a lot, and I'm speaking specifically to intro here in the sense of, if they can perform on a well-designed, large cumulative final, even if they made a lot of mistakes earlier in the quarter, why don't they deserve the grade that they got on that well-designed cumulative final? Because students who take the AP exam, if they get typically a 3 or higher, your institution is going to say they've met all the learning objectives for your intro class, and we are going to give them credit, and they don't need to take that class from you.
Get credit, but they don't get a grade.
I agree. I think that, and some people do this where they will give students the earned grade up until the cumulative final or the cumulative final grade, or whichever is higher, so that values the former work that was done in the course and doesn't put everything on the cumulative final for all students. I think that's kind of a nice idea. I know Aaron Richmond is really into cumulative finals, if I am remembering correctly.
Well, he gives opportunities.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't give exams. He gives opportunities.
We give a cumulative final and intro. Now, that mean on the cumulative part is always lower than the mean of our individual exams. I do wonder a little bit about putting the stakes so high for a student who's failing the class on a final that, hey, you could pass the class. All you have to do is pass this exam. I wonder, have we increased the odds of someone wanting to cheat because they're desperate? Or, I just think that is a lot of pressure on a cumulative final if it becomes such a, this is the be-all, end-all exam. I don't know.
Noland.
I use comprehensive exams all the way through as well. The bulk of my final is made up of questions from the most recent chapters I cover at the end of the semester. But I'll have questions on the final, just like I do on exams 2 and 3, that go all the way back to, the very beginning of the semester. So I don't think that, at least as a standalone, my comprehensive final would capture the entire semester, even though there's coverage of the entire semester.
So first off, I'm loving this conversation. I love being able to listen to it. Thank you for letting me come in the room. I appreciate it. I think there's always going to be a chance for cheating, and I think you're right. If you raise the stakes, the risk goes up. But I also think there's no format that ever prevents cheating, whether it's low stakes or high stakes. And so we do the best we can to prevent it and minimize it. But what is delightful with 3 master teachers is that you all have reasons and justifications for why you're doing what you do. You don't all do the same thing. You're serving your students in small, medium, and large-sized classes, and I think that's really what it's a benefit to our listeners. Yeah, that's awesome.